So we're on our road to Buninyong for the road nats. We're almost there, going the back way to get to the race. We're heading out to see the women's race at 8 o'clock, and we're going to be there all day to see the men's race as well. My favourite for the women's race would probably be Amanda Spratt for the elite women's, and for the elite men's, I think I'm going to go with, I'll go with Caleb Ewan. If you can hear David Bowie in the background, it is David Bowie. We all love David Bowie in this car. He's a great singer.
So after we saw the ladies race, we visited the Mars Chills Out zone, where they had like an indoor bike challenge. I gave that a go, and at the start I assumed that it would start climbing straight away. So I put like a tiny gear to prepare myself for the climb, but it took a while for it to start climbing, and my legs were spinning like cartoon characters, which is really quite funny. But my time was like third when we left, but there was no way it would have stood there. It would have changed. We were probably down the list now, like way down now.
Very dominant force numbers.
Yeah, it's hard. After staying in the village, we moved up to the Midland Highway to see some of the ladies racing. There were a few breakaways, and in the end, Katrin Garfoot and Amanda Spratt made it to the finish by themselves. They sprinted out for the finish, and I assumed they sprinted out just to decide who paid for lunch. And then at the finish line, we interviewed Sophie Mackay from Wagga Wagga, and we did interviews with her, and we talked to her about nutrition, sunscreen, and some other things as well.
How important is nutrition for you?
In the race around Mount Buninyong, nutrition becomes exceptionally important because it is a race of nutrition. So it's a matter of really just hanging on for as long as you can. Even the best riders that we saw here today, their nutrition would have been unbelievably important for them, particularly in a hot day like today. The electrolytes and hydration are exceptionally important as well.
Do you still have some of the stuff in your pockets, or have you got?
I do have a little bit in my pockets. I got pulled off the course at like 8 or 9, I think. So yeah, I had a little bit left over.
Can we have a quick look at it?
Nothing pleasant. Gel blocks.
I've had some of those before.
They hold together well.
Are they the Cliff Bars?
Yes, they are. They hold together well in the heat, and I like the fact that you have to chew them. It seems more natural.
Yeah. I had one for my run on the racing, and they had a lot of caffeine in them.
Yep.
And I was on the way home. I was still buzzing.
Well, I've got to drive home this afternoon, so hopefully they'll keep me awake.
My next question. Do you use sunscreen, and how important is it to you?
Yes, I wear sunscreen all the time, and I mean, look how bright it is today. I think if you're out there without sunscreen on, it's just going to sap your energy more and more. The sun's hot enough as it is, but if you're not protecting yourself, then you'll really notice it by the end of the race. And a lot of these girls will be racing up for Tour Down Under next week. I believe that's next week. So if you're getting sunburnt today, that can affect your preparation coming into Tour Down Under as well.
And, so do you train indoors and outdoors, or just outdoors?
I train indoors and outdoors. I work full time, so I find if I train indoors, it's a bit more bang for your buck, essentially. So I can do an hour to an hour and a half on weekdays and still fit that in around working. Whereas and I think that's equivalent to probably 2 to 3 hours on the road, probably, depending on the intervals you do. So for that reason, indoor training has become really important to me to be relatively competitive on this stage.
Do you use Zwift or anything other training software?
I don't use Zwift. I just have a Wahoo kicker. I put my Specialized bike on that, and off I go.
Wow, that's pretty. That'd be pretty hard for me. I need to use something like that. But you don't have any problem with that?
No, I have very set intervals that I do with my training, so that breaks it up a lot.
Yeah, so I suppose that makes it very interesting.
Yeah.
So can we have I know you probably can't say too much, but what sort of intervals do you do?
10 seconds on, 20 seconds off. Try and hold that for about 6 minutes. 10 seconds on is as hard as you can go, and then just repeat those 6 minute blocks.
So very, very painful.
Oh yeah.
Are you a coffee drinker, and what coffee do you like before a race?
Yes, I'm a coffee drinker. I had a double espresso before today's race.
Just before the start of the men's race, we interviewed one of the big favourites, Brendan Canty, who rides for Canada Drapac, and also Alexander Smythe, who is part of the New South Wales Institute of Sport.
Nutrition's obviously very important, so what have you been eating before the race?
I've just popped down a little bit of rice with Nutella in it. It's just one of my favourites for the race. And then I've got some gels in the pocket and a couple of bars from Proformance. A lot of carbohydrate. We're told to get about 60 grams of carbohydrate in per hour, so it's about a gel every 2 laps out there. So we'll see. I've got some electrolyte in the bins as well. We're going to be drinking heaps out on the course today.
What would be your favourite snack to pull out of your back pocket?
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe the gels. The gels are the easiest on this course. There's not really a lot of time that you've got to smash nutrition. So the gels are probably one of the easiest to get down the hatch because you can just rip the top off and squeeze them in. So that's probably my favourite for today.
So nutrition is obviously very important.
Yeah, I've got a couple of gels. They're always handy when it's super hot and you can't actually eat solid food. That's always helpful. A couple of energy bars sweet early on if you can. But yeah, when it's super hot, usually the focus for me turns to hydration with the liquids and the fluid. So more gels today than solid foods.
Got an interview with Ian Marr. He was a commentator at the Com, and he had a few interesting things to say about the race.
A minute gap. Do you see that breakaway surviving?
No, I don't. I think it's going to be like the under-23 event and also the women's event, although the women's did stick, but it's a very good group that's gone away, but I still think the big hitters are back in that main peloton.
Why do you think that breakaway will not survive?
Because I still think, even though they say that most of the teams are represented out the front, I think that Mitch Docker has been proven to a rider that goes out there in an initial break, he just softens them up, and then at the end, like he did in the criterium, a lead out for Caleb Ewing. I don't think it's going to be a sprinter's race, but I think it could still come down to being a climber's event. And I've got a feeling that Cam Meyer and his brother Travis is having his last race. I reckon they might have something worked out to even send Travis on his way with a win, or Cam to go for the second time.
In the last few laps, there'll be really quite a lot of attacks from the smaller riders and the riders who don't have a chance in the sprint. Who do you see those riders being?
Oh, by gee, I tell you what, there's many chances. This is a quality field. You know, this is one of the best fields for this event up here in Buninyong. And I don't know, I like Jay McCarthy was on the move that time. He can climb, like Pat Lane, who had a very good ride last year for third, a very good climber. And of course, Sean Lake, he won the Grafton Inverell 2 years in a row. So look, some of those climbers I think will make their move either on the third last or second last lap. And I think that's going to make it hard for the sprinters to figure in the finish. You've got to climb to be, for a chance to win this sort of event. And the ones that say we want it on a flat course, that's not a true championship course. This is the true championship course here in Buninyong.
At the finish line, just before the race ended, we also interviewed Brad Priest, who also raced in the Elite Men's Road Race.
So with today's race being so hot, what sort of nutrition strategies did you have today?
I had a lot of pasta a couple of days before, as far as food goes, for fuel.
Yeah.
And I drank a lot of water yesterday and this morning prior to racing, just to ensure that I was hydrated and ready for the race, I guess.
Wearing sunscreen important to you?
No, I haven't got sunscreen on. I should, but I don't. Wear sunscreen.
And what sort of coffee do you like? And have you had coffee?
Latte. Latte is my coffee, and I've had one coffee prior to the race. Yeah. It's too hot to have a coffee afterwards.
It was after all the attacks on the climbers like Brendan Canty, Turbo Durbo, Lockie Morton, the Meyer brothers, and even Gerrans at the last lap. It was all brought back together, and it was Miles Scotson who waited patiently the whole race and pounced with 2 kilometres to go. He surprised all of his rivals and did not allow Gerrans and Nathan Haas to sprint out the victory. As BMC fan, before Kid Evans went to BMC, by the way, we're very happy. We have 7 BMCs in this house. How can you not go for BMC?
1 foot more, leads and through, Marco Bryant. Nathan Haas, Simon Gerrans and Miles Scotson.